Namaskar, hello and a very good morning to all of you. I'm Tanvi Khurana and the Department of Education in Science and Mathematics NCERT brings you this webinar series Listening to Learn यानी सुने और सीखे. We have entered into the 116th episode with this particular program, and the topic that we are going to discuss is going to be development of science and technology in India, a brief historical perspective. अगर आपके पास कोई सवाल है, कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं, कुछ भी जानना चाहते हैं तो आप हमें फ़ोन कर सकते हैं. नंबर है 8800440559 और इस वक्त आप हमें देख रहे हैं हमारे YouTube चैनल पर भी, जो कि है NCERT ऑफिशियल, जिसके लाइव चैट बॉक्स में भी आप अपने सवाल लिखकर हम तक पहुंचा सकते हैं. इसके अलावा आप हमें देख रहे हैं PME विद्या चैनल नंबर 9 से लेकर चैनल नंबर 12 पर. और अगर ईमेल आईडी के माध्यम से अपने सवाल हम तक पहुंचाना चाहें तो ईमेल आईडी होगा dth.class12@ciet.nic.in. This information will be flashing on your screens throughout this program. So please raise your questions. If there are any topics that you want to suggest us for future, then please do that. इसके अलावा अगर आपने पुराने हमारे प्रोग्राम्स नहीं देखे हैं, आपसे छूट गए हैं, तो हम आपको बताना चाहेंगे ncert.nic.in/webinar_series.php पर भी जाकर आप हमारे पुराने कार्यक्रम देख सकते हैं. चलिए आपका परिचय करवाएंगे इस पूरे प्रोग्राम के कोऑर्डिनेटर से, जिनकी मदद के बिना इस प्रोग्राम का सक्सेस होना ऑलमोस्ट इम्पॉसिबल था. हम आपका परिचय करवाएंगे डॉक्टर गगन गुप्ता से. सर, अ वेरी वार्म वेलकम टू यू.
नमस्ते तन्वी. साथियों नमस्कार. एक बार फिर से मैं आपके सामने हूँ. 116वां शो है, 16वां सत्र है आज हमारा. और आप लोगों की बहुत दिनों से हमारे पास एक डिमांड थी, एक सुझाव था कि हम साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी का विकास हमारे देश में कैसे हुआ है और उसकी क्या प्रक्रिया रही है. इस विषय का पर आप लोगों का एक हमारा सुझाव लगातार मिल रहा था. आज मैं उसको पूरा कर पा रहा हूं और इस कार्यक्रम के लिए आज बहुत ही खास व्यक्ति मेरे साथ हैं. मेरे अपने शिक्षक हैं. मैं समझता हूं कि इस देश में उनसे बेहतर व्यक्ति शायद इस तरह के टॉपिक को लेने के लिए कोई और नहीं था. प्रोफेसर अजय घटक मेरे अपने शिक्षक आज हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में है. सर, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. बहुत बहुत स्वागत है सर. और इस प्रोग्राम को लेने के लिए मैंने जब सर से रिक्वेस्ट किया कि इस प्रोग्राम को हमें करना है, इस पर बहुत डिमांड है, बहुत सुझाव आ रहे हैं, तो सर ने मुझसे कहा कि मुझे समय दो. और मैं शुक्रगुजार हूं सर का कि इन्होंने इस प्रोग्राम को करने के लिए बहुत मेहनत की है, बहुत मेहनत की है. साथियों, आप अपने सवाल ज़रूर पूछिए. मेरे साथी तन्वी ने जैसे आपको बताया कि आप दिए गए माध्यमों पर अपने सवाल पूछ सकते हैं. आप सर हमारे पास इस प्रोग्राम में एक बार पहले भी आ चुके हैं, जिन्होंने 100वां सत्र सर के साथ हमने किया था, जिस पर कि सर ने आइंस्टीन के बारे में बात की थी और उनकी फेमस इक्वेशन E=mc² के एक बहुत ही आसान तरीके से डेरिवेशन के बारे में बात की थी. सर ने उस पर एक किताब भी लिखी है जिसके बारे में कि हमने आप सबके बारे में बताया था. आप सबसे उम्मीद है कि आज का प्रोग्राम आप देख रहे हैं. जिसको ई सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए, हमारे YouTube लिंक पर जो एक गूगल फॉर्म का लिंक पिंड है, उस पिन को उस पर आप अपना सूचना दीजिए. हम आपको पास आपका सर्टिफिकेट पहुंचाएंगे. जो साथी मेरे साथ टेलीविज़न पर जुड़े हैं वो आप मुझे अलग से ईमेल भेज सकते हैं ciet.dth12@ciet.nic.in. आप इस पर भेज सकते हैं, जो कि फ्लैश हो रहा है नीचे. आप उस ईमेल पर भेजिए. आज की प्रोग्राम का सर ने एक बहुत खूबसूरत सा एक पूरा डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनाई है, एक पूरा राइटअप लिखा है. उस राइटअप को हमें आपको भेजने में बहुत प्रसन्नता होगी. आप चाहे वो YouTube के साथी जुड़े हुए हों, चाहे वो जो साथी हमारे साथ टेलीविज़न पर जुड़े हुए हैं, वो सभी हमसे उस राइटअप को ले सकते हैं. साथियों, प्रोफेसर अजय घटक एक जाने माने फोटोनिक्स एंड ऑप्टिकल साइंटिस्ट हैं. वो इस देश में बहुत आदरणीय है. IIT दिल्ली से जुड़े रहे. एल्यूमिनस 1959 दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी बैच, जो कि बहुत फिजिक्स डिपार्टमेंट का दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी का बहुत ही फेमस बैच है. उस बैच में से बहुत बड़े बड़े फिजिसिस्ट इस देश में रहे और बहुत आदरणीय रहे. और उन सबको हम आपके सामने एक दो बार लाए भी हैं और फिर अपने भी लाएंगे. उस बैच के प्रोफेसर घटक सदस्य हैं, कॉर्नेल यूनिवर्सिटी से पीएचडी हैं और उन्होंने नेशनल एकेडमी ऑफ साइंसेज इंडिया नासी इंडिया से जुड़े हुए हैं, संबद्ध दिल्ली चैप्टर के प्रेसिडेंट रहे हैं। ऑप्टिकल सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया विच इज़ नाउ ऑप्टिकल सोसाइटी ऑफ अमेरिका, आई एम सॉरी प्लीज़ माफ़ कीजिए, ऑप्टिकल सोसाइटी ऑफ अमेरिका जो कि अब ऑप्टिका के नाम से जानी जाती है, और स्पाई इसके फेलो हैं। लगभग 170 रिसर्च आर्टिकल्स हैं, बहुत सारी किताबें हैं। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में आप देखेंगे कि उनके द्वारा बहुत सारी किताबें लिखी हुई हैं। इन सभी किताबों को मैंने खुद अपने एज ए स्टूडेंट एंड एज ए टीचर बोथ इन किताबों का उपयोग किया है, तो इसीलिए ये चारों किताबों को मैंने यहाँ पर शो स्क्रीन किया है। इसके अलावा भी सर की बहुत सारी किताबें हैं, लगभग 20+। उनकी बहुत फेमस किताब जो आप देख रहे हैं ऑप्टिक्स, वो चाइनीज़ और पर्शियन में ट्रांसलेट भी हुई है। दूसरी किताबें बहुत सारी हैं, मैंने यहाँ पर सिर्फ वो किताबें लिखी हैं जो कि मैंने खुद एज ए स्टूडेंट यहाँ पर और एज ए टीचर यूज़ की हैं। सर 1979 SSB अवार्डी हैं, सर शांति स्वरूप भटनागर अवार्डी हैं। 1998 गैलीलियो अवार्डी हैं। 2003 ऑप्टिकल सोसाइटी ऑफ अमेरिका एस्थर हॉफमैन बेलर अवार्ड। 2008 स्पाई एजुकेटर अवार्ड, ए ग्रेट टीचर indeed and a researcher as well. 2020 Optical Society of America Sang So Lee Award. 2021 Shastra Ji and Ramachandran Award. Sir, we really feel honored in your accepting our offer. We are indebted and we wish कि ये कोलैबोरेशन जो आपके साथ और IIT दिल्ली के साथ हमारा चल रहा है, ये सतत रूप से आगे भी चलता रहेगा। इट्स ऑल योर सर नाउ, थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, Professor Gagan Gupta. I feel deeply honored to be a participant of this very important webinar series. I am grateful to you for your very kind invitation to speak to the students in India, and it's truly an honor, and I am indeed very, very happy to be associated with the premier education institution in India, namely NCERT, which has made phenomenal contribution towards the educating the younger generation in India. If we have achieved in the past few years some achievements, then that is primarily due to the basic training that has been provided through NCERT to our students. So I am indeed very happy to be here. So I will be speaking, giving a very brief historical perspective of development of science and technology in India. And as Professor Gagan Gupta mentioned, I am associated with both NASI, which is the oldest science academy in India, and also the recently created Optics and Photonics Center at IIT Delhi. I thought I should first mention about our scientific contributions in the past. In the 5th century, Aryabhatta, who was a great mathematician and astronomer, propounded that planets rotate on their axis, causing day and night, and follow almost elliptical orbits around the sun. And he had done this 1500 years back. He also explained the causes of the solar and lunar eclipses and predicted their times. There is a very beautiful book by Scott Montgomery entitled Science in Translation, Movements of Knowledge Through Cultures and Time, and in that book he has written texts from Persia and India contributed to astronomy. So this has been acknowledged worldwide. Then, as most of you have seen, the iron pillar in Delhi, which was built 1500 years back in the 5th century, it appears to have been protected from rust by the application of a thin coating of manganese dioxide. So, thin film technology, the deposition of thin films of materials, existed 1500 years back in our country. And then a temple like Jagannath Temple in Puri was built in the 11th century, and engineers used iron girders and beams on a scale unknown in any other part of the world. And then we had Nalanda University, which is considered as one of the greatest universities during those times. Jeffrey Garton in New York Times writes that Nalanda University was founded in the 5th century, that is 1500 years back, and was one of the great universities first great universities in recorded history. The university was an architectural and environmental masterpiece. Jeffrey Garton further writes that at its peak it had 10,000 students and attracted scholars from Korea, Japan, China, Persia. The university died a slow death about the time that some of the great European universities, including those in Oxford, was just getting started. In fact, it was burned down in around the 12th century. Nalanda University taught a wide variety of subjects, including Buddhist scriptures, philosophy, logic, medicine, mathematics, astronomy, etc. And during the early British period, ships were exported from India. And so we were fairly technologically advanced before the British came. And then came the relatively dark period in the development of mathematics and science in India. Religious fanaticism took over, and the schools and colleges were changed into religious teachings. This was also the dark period in Europe, and as you all know that on 17 February 1600, Giordano Bruno was burned to death by the church because he believed that the earth went round the sun and not the other way round. And this is as written by Ian Stewart in a very nice book on why beauty is truth. Then came the Renaissance in Europe, and Galileo was there in the 16th century and 17th century. He is often called the father of modern physics. The old idea was that he carried out his famous experiment that all objects take the same amount of time in falling through a certain height. So, the story goes that he went on the top of the Tower Pisa, and then he dropped one heavy ball and one small marble, and both of them took the same amount of time in falling through the earth. So, the old idea was that they would take different amounts of time. But as we all know, both a heavy mass and a smaller mass will take the same amount of time in falling through space. However, in June 1633, Galileo was sentenced to imprisonment because his views were contrary to the Holy Scripture, and therefore he was required to reject, curse and detest his opinions. He, for example, believed that the earth went round the sun, which was against the Holy Scripture. So, this was the dark period in Europe, and so therefore he was imprisoned and he died in his cell, and he had to say that all that I have said is wrong, and therefore he stayed alive. Otherwise, he would have been also, like Bruno, would have been burned to death. Then came Isaac Newton. In fact, Isaac Newton was born the same year as Galileo died. And as you all know, Newton was one of the greatest scientists ever born, and he made revolutionary contributions to science, and that he calculated the orbits of the planets, that they actually are elliptical orbits and going around the sun. And he made phenomenal contribution to gravitation, to optics, and also to mathematics. And after Newton came the Industrial Revolution, which started around 1760 and involved, for example, going from hand production methods to machines. So the machines, the concept of machine, the concept of steam engine arrived around the later part of the 18th century. But this industrial revolution, which came in Europe, did not take place in India. It was only on 20th January 1817, about 200 years back, that the first college in the modern sense was established. The Hindu College in Calcutta was formally opened with 20 scholars. This was the first institution of higher learning, not only in India, but in Asia. and the foundation committee of the college was headed by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who along with 6 others donated their personal wealth to establish this college. So, the government did not support this college, the creation of this college. It was through personal wealth, and most of the important educational institution came from personal donation from rich people. And in 1855, it was renamed as Presidency College. 1855, not 1955, 1858. The British were still ruling us. And on 23rd July 2010, it became Presidency University, which is now one of the very famous universities in our country. The pioneering discoveries of Jagadish Chandra Bose in physics and plant physiology and of Prafulla Chandra Ray in industrial chemistry were made in the laboratories of Presidency College. So, it is really one of the great colleges which has produced outstanding scientists and thinkers. Agra College is a Presidency College was established in 1817, and 6 years later Agra College was founded in 1823 by the noted Sanskrit scholar Pandit Gangadhar Shastri, long before the first university in India was established in 1857. And I had the great fortune of attending Agra College. It was really one of the beautiful colleges. The 4 years that I had spent there, I still remember with great fondness. Our teachers were outstanding, and they taught us with great affection and tremendous knowledge. So, these are some of the great colleges that India has. Then in 1857, 3 universities were set up in Madras, Calcutta. Madras is now known as Chennai, Calcutta is known as Kolkata, and Bombay is known as Mumbai. So, similar to the structure of University of London. So, these 3 universities were actually set up by the British, and these are the photographs of the 3 universities taken during the early part of the 19th century, later part of the 19th century. Then William Muir set up the Allahabad University, which was established in 1887 by Sir William Muir, who was the governor of the United Provinces. What we call today as Uttar Pradesh, UP, used to be known as United Provinces during the British rule. It was known as the Oxford of the East. It had great professors. Professor Meghnad Saha was the head of the department in the 30s and took the university to an international level, and that was during the British period. And then, for example, people like Madan Mohan Malviya, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya created Banaras Hindu. This is also one of the great universities of our country, and this came through personal donation from rich, wealthy people. He went around from one place to the other and created this beautiful university, and that happened in 1916. So, in 1916, Banaras Hindu University was founded by the great educationist and social reformist Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, with cooperation of great personalities like Dr. Annie Besant. Presidency College was also founded by, as I mentioned, by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who was also a great social reformer. The Sati Daha was abolished by people like Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So, they are truly great people, and we should remember and know more about such great personalities. And then in 1869, now please read what he had said in 1869 and not 1969. So, in 1869, in an article entitled "On the Desirability of a National Institution for the Cultivation of Sciences by the Natives of India," the great visionary and philanthropist Dr. Mahindra Lal Sarkar, who was a medical doctor, he wrote that the prevailing backwardness of the country was due to backwardness of science, and the solution was in vigorous pursuit of sciences by original research. He said that in 1869, and that is true even today, because in India today 25% of the people are still below the poverty line. It may not be 25% or 20, it may be 20%. And even if it is 20%, then it is a staggering 250 million people who are still below the poverty line. How to get them out of poverty? It is only through science and technology and education. And so he created, in July 1876, he founded the Indian Association for the Cultivation of Sciences at Beaubazar Street in Kolkata, and supported not by the government. This institution was supported by generous public contributions. He did not want any support from the government. And he organized lectures by people like Ashutosh Mukherjee, Jagadish Chandra Bose, Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, and many others. But then C.V. Raman arrived in Calcutta in June 1907. He was employed by the British government by the account office. He had done his M.Sc. in physics, and he was a brilliant student. And while riding a tram to work, he soon spotted the Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, and he used to work there at nights. After he would finish his work at the Accountant General's office, he will come to IACS and will set up a laboratory. And as you know, he did his Nobel Prize winning work at IACS, and he got the 1930 Nobel Prize in Physics for his very famous work on Raman spectra. And this is the spectrograph which is on display at IACS today, right now, and I had taken this photograph myself, and it still shows the apparatus that he had used to obtain the spectrum, he and Professor K.S. Krishnan. Then in the year 1893, Swami Vivekananda and Jamshedji Tata were on board a ship going to Canada. Swami Vivekananda asked Tata where he was going and what was the mission. Jamshedji Tata said, "Swamiji, I am going with a mission to bring steel industry to country, to India." To which Swamiji said, "It is indeed a beautiful mission. However, I would like to suggest that you start an institute, a laboratory to do advanced research on this subject." So look at the vision of the monk. He was a monk, Swamiji was a monk. But he said that for India to grow, to India to become self-reliant, you have to do research in basic science and technology. And inspired by that, inspired by Swamiji, Jamshedji Tata donated his personal wealth, 30 lakhs at that time, around the turn of the 19th century, around 1899 or something like that. He donated 30 lakhs to create Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, and it is one of the finest institutes where we do fundamental research and train a large number of students. It is really one of the most premier institutes in our country because of the scientific base which was created actually during the British period. We have achieved a lot during the past few years. We have a flourishing and largely indigenous space program. In 2017, ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, created a world record by sending 104 satellites in a single rocket. This was a record, and this is a stamp in honor of our former president, and who played a tremendously important role in space technology, Abdul Kalam. So Vikram Sarabhai was the founder of this program, and Satish Dhawan. They were great Indian visionaries and founders of the space program. And it was Satish Dhawan who had inspired Professor Abdul Kalam. And then came the Green Revolution. When I returned from USA in 1964, there was a famine-like condition. Lal Bahadur Shastri, I still remember that. Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Prime Minister, and there was food shortage. And then after that, we had the Green Revolution. And the father of India's Green Revolution is Professor Swaminathan. The Green Revolution, spreading over the period from 1967 to 1977, changed India's status from a food deficient country to one of the world's leading agricultural nations. So when I came back from USA in 1964, after finishing my PhD and postdoctoral work, milk was not available. Milk was in short supply in Delhi. So, it was Verghese Kurian, who is known as the milkman of India, who created what is now known as the white revolution. Now, milk, of course, milk has become very expensive, but it is now available everywhere, and we owe it to the vision of Verghese Kurian. And then we had the nuclear energy in India, which was set up by Homi Bhabha just after the independence. You see, the nuclear fission was discovered in 1938. The first atomic explosion took place in 1945. The first nuclear reactor was built in 1942 by Enrico Fermi at University of Chicago. And then India got independence in 1947. I had witnessed India becoming independent. I have also seen Mahatma Gandhi. I belong to that generation, and it was in late 40s that Homi Bhabha, who was a great visionary. Today we require visionaries like Homi Bhabha, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Vikram Sarabhai, and Raja Ramanna, who created the technologies that we use today. So, the father of India's nuclear energy program is Homi Jahangir Bhabha, and after his untimely death, Raja Ramanna took over. And India has a flourishing and largely indigenous nuclear power program. No one will help us. We have to develop our own technology. That is very important. No one will help us even in space technology. We can buy some products here and there, but the basic infrastructure has to be built by us. And so therefore, we have to put emphasis on science and technology. And today in 2025, it generates about nuclear technology generates about 8 gigawatts of power, 8,000 megawatts of power, which is almost 3% of the total power generation in India. And then we have, in the recent past, we have tremendous investments in solar technology. And it is also, you see, both nuclear technology and has lot of after effects, and what you do with spent fuel and things like that. And this is clean energy. So the government of India under our Prime Minister Narendra Modi have put great emphasis on having solar energy which has enabled the current installed capacity is about 127 gigawatts, which is about 20%. The nuclear energy contributes only 3%. Solar energy contributes about 20% of the total power generation capacity. And then we had the mobile technology which has come to India. India has about 1.2 billion people, probably now it is little more. This is slightly dated slide in use, and reasonably cheap internet connection. The mobile phone that almost every Indian has revolutionized everything. We can send now money from Delhi to a small village in Assam or Orissa or Bihar or Tamil Nadu in an instant, and we can talk to people, we can predict weather, we make other weather forecast, etc., etc. And that was the vision of Sam Petroda, and in collaboration with Rajiv Gandhi. And then we have this tremendous achievement of, I never personally thought that Delhi will have a working metro, but we have a thriving metro in very beautifully managed. And the creator of that, the visionary, was Sridharan, who is known as the Metro Man of India. And it is an unique engineering society. And now India, as we have seen during the COVID-19 time, India is the world's largest producer of vaccines. So we have achieved a lot in science and technology. We have really a flourishing nuclear program, space program, vaccine program and things like that. We have large number of universities and technical institutions like IITs. So we have achieved a lot. But then slavery, we still have slavery in a brick manufacturing company. There is a very beautiful YouTube video by Lisa Christine. All of you should watch that, where entire families can be carrying bricks or stones from morning to evening in extreme heat and engulfed in dust. That is happening even today. And then we have people, manuals, this came out few years back, manual scavengers died in the sewers of Delhi in the last 5 weeks. So we are still way behind, and we have to use technology to, and this happened in nation's capital. I feel myself very embarrassed and very pained by this. And here is a photograph of a child drinking from a river or a pond or something like that. So this thing has to go. So India unfortunately ranks 107 on 2022 Global Hunger Index, behind Pakistan. So this is also something that we should worry about. And all of you who are probably seeing this program, we are all very fortunate to have the education, to go to colleges, to go to live comfortably. But there is a large population that we should always remember that are still below the poverty line. So where did we go wrong? My answer is education, eradication of corruption and values imparted by parents and by school and college teachers. So we must have a system so that best teachers and outstanding human beings are in our schools and colleges, and the society must respect them. This is true in Scandinavian countries. Actually, it is true, it was true even during our times. We really had outstanding, I had physics teachers like Professor D.S. Kothari, Professor R.C. Majumdar, Professor Aulak. Even in Agra College, I still remember my teachers, Professor Subhash Chandra Gupta and Professor S.L. Gupta, Professor Bansal, Professor L.P. Sharma. They were not only very good physicists, they were outstanding human beings. We learned values from them. So the best in our country have to go for teaching and research. That is very important. And so the emphasis should be on education, science and technology. We live in difficult times. When peace and human security are facing, this is actually quoting the Director General of UNESCO, are facing new challenges at the individual and global level. I repeat this, we live in difficult times when peace and human security are facing new challenges at the individual and global level. Education is the key dimension of the long-term process of building peace, tolerance, justice and intercultural understanding. The reorientation of education to create a better world is truly urgent. And so, education and accepting new science and technology and training the younger generation in that is the most, and putting values in our children, values in the younger generation, and that is the most important thing today, and that we should think very carefully and judiciously. So this was actually, this particular is a quotation by Dr. Matsuhara, who was the Director General of UNESCO, and also this is a quote from Amartya Sen, Nobel laureate Amartya Sen, that empowering women is key to building a future we want. This is very important. All, if you, as Gandhiji said, if you teach one man, then one man is taught. If you teach one more woman, then the entire family becomes learned. So that is very important. So on October 1, 2004, at the opening ceremony of Swami Vivekananda's ancestral house, Dr. Abdul Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam had said, "Let us work for the evolution of enlightened citizen, which is the mission of Vivekananda heritage. Such an enlightened citizen should have a strong body and indomitable spirit." Swamiji said, "Arise, awake and stop not till you reach the goal. The goal is a prosperous India with peace in itself and giving to the whole world." Thank you very much for your attention. And I am quoting Abdul Kalam, that to the younger generation who are probably listening today, that follow your dreams. Dr. Gagan Gupta, it's my great pleasure and honor to be part of this program. I thank you very much for your very kind invitation.
Sir, it's our honor and pleasure in having you here. Sir, the India's one among the greatest scientists as well as a great teacher is with us. Please keep on forwarding your questions. Sir, yes, the key is, as you quoted Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda, arise, awake and stop not till you reach the goal.
Goal.
Yes, every small bit. So, sir, I am getting different kind of questions. I will start with a little difficult kind of question, which science students really fear to answer. Science development and science and technology has always been globally influenced by the society.
Yes.
Let us take the recent example, 1930s, the World War was going on, everybody was looking on the nuclear energy, so the whole funding went to the nuclear energy. Otherwise, probably the laser might have been discovered in 1930s itself, not in 1960. My man would have probably might have not to wait till 1960 or to get all the world wars over. How, on the contrary to it, sir, right from our childhood, we have been facing a famous debate topic in our school system, whether science is a boon or curse. I personally say that this question doesn't arise. Science is neutral. This is a society which makes the laws of science or the applications of science to be used for different. How do you see it today?
Okay. That's a very debatable question.
Yes, sir.
And, but before you say that, so today in a country like India, we require very urgently visionaries like Homi Bhabha, Meghnad Saha, Vikram Sarabhai, Abdul Kalam, Satish Dhawan, Jamshedji Tata and many others who were responsible for creating institutes and also motivating the younger generation for science and technology and other things. So that is very important. We are very fortunate that we have a large number of very bright young men and women who are ready to work hard, but we require that leadership. That is necessary to create more institutions. We today have, for example, this very competitive joint entrance examination which leads to the coaching industry, and that is under a lot of debate and things like that. But we must not have that. We had a very relaxed childhood. We never appeared in any entrance examinations, and so there should be a large number of institutes, but it has to be carefully planned and good leadership has to be provided. The answer to your question, the science, you see, when the atom bomb was dropped, it was decided by President Truman, President of the United States, then to drop the atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And I have written that in that small booklet that I have given you, that this has created a debate whether America should have used it or not, whether science is harmful to the society. Science has created that atom bomb. Science has created the nuclear reactor. But there are two reasonings, two arguments. One is that if the atom bomb, people argue that if the atom bomb was not dropped, the war would have protracted for maybe 2-3 more years and 2 million lives would have been lost. The atom bomb itself maybe it made about 250,000 people die. But the effect of nuclear bomb was so bad, and it caused human misery of unimaginable magnitude. And so therefore, is the science good for our society? Many people left science after that, that I don't want to work in an area which creates a thing like atom bomb. There is a very beautiful lecture which is on YouTube. You all, the younger generation, should all go to YouTube, and Oppenheimer's lecture that he gave in November 1945. The two atom bombs were, the first atomic explosion took place in July 1945 and in August 1945, and we commemorated 80 years of that tragic event. So he gave a lecture 4 months after that at University of Pennsylvania. Everyone for sure, the conflict of the scientist in creating a device like atom bomb. And he said, and people believe that that it killed 250,000 people in Japan, which was a great tragedy. It caused human misery of unimaginable magnitude. But at the same time, if it was not used, then 2 million American soldiers and civilians in Japan would have been killed. So the answer to your question is that you cannot stop science, you cannot stop technology. The judicious use of that is with politicians and us
and society in general. Yes, sir. You are right, sir. So I see that though the science creates a technology, but at the same time it is also true that the today's technology creates a tomorrow's science.
That is true.
That is true.
One other example is, about which I am very concerned, is this mobile phone. It has become an indispensable part of today's life.
Yes.
Even the very poor people, even our sabzi wala, ready wala, they all use mobile phones and for do their transaction. We have in India a great program like the payment through UPI. This is a revolution that has happened, that I don't have to give cash to the sabzi wala or anyone, even a beggar on the street has a QR code, and he says that if you do not have cash, you can give me money through the bank transfer and things like that. So this is a revolution that has happened. This has happened in India. But the thing is this, so the technology has to be there, and it is definitely of advantage. How we use, so you have the mobile phone. Now mobile phone allows you to listen to such lectures, to learn quantum mechanics, to general theory of relativity, to mathematics, to everything. This Khan Academy lectures, for example, is an outstanding contribution to the society at large. So you can learn physics, chemistry, mathematics through those lectures. But also, you have very bad things also on the internet.
Yes.
So use of mobile phone. If you are, it is now people get addicted to it, and it has bad effects, but it has very good effects. So you cannot avoid the technology.
Yes.
You should adopt the technology, but you should change. We should change our thinking so that the younger generation uses it with clarity and judiciously.
Sir, I have
I made myself clear?
Yes, you are very clear. Yes, India is so reliable as far as the use of technology in UPI that many people have really forgotten putting cash in their wallets.
Yes.
So this, sir,
and that has also avoided black money.
Yes, that has also avoided many.
Remarkable, and that is the contribution that Nandan Nilekani made in creating the Aadhaar card is a revolution.
Yes,
now every Indian has an Aadhaar card in which his biometric data is there. Of course, it can be misused. But it's a revolution that has happened in our country, in India. And Aadhaar card plus this UPI payment. So no one can need to carry. I'm an old man, so I still carry cash. But most people in India, and this is a revolution that has happened.
So now I am going back to the little history. You started with the history. Your Nalanda University, you took exam.
Yes.
I mean, there are some queries on it. So, the University of Al Qayyam at Morocco is considered to be the oldest Al Qayyam. at Morocco is still considered, who was instituted in somewhere in 859, 9th century, mid 9th century. And then what happened in this country? We had the internet says the Sirampur College. You mentioned about Hindu College. You mentioned about Agra College, but the Sirampur College, which was instituted in West Bengal in 1817, and which became the status of the university by the British government.
I'm sure you would be right. I know. So Presidency College has become Presidency University. I don't know about Agra College, what is the status right now, but I am very, very proud of that college, and I am sure Srirampur College. So we must revive these educational institutions. These are, and I know one of my friends, Professor H.C. Verma, who has written a book on very nice book on concepts in physics. Now he came from Patna Science College, and he said that was one of the finest colleges in India, and he had great teachers, motivating people like him, and it was teachers in Agra College and my school, which was an ordinary school in Agra, that really whatever little I have achieved, it is because of my teachers and my parents.
Yes, sir. Agra College is still there, and it is a part of B.R. Ambedkar University.
Yes.
And I am also alumnus of that Agra University.
But so, have they kept the standards? That is the thing. The dedication that you have to ask. That you have to find out. So
I have
next time when you come, I will discuss about Agra.
Sir, I have two more questions before we die out with the time. One, we started this program with the Gagandeep Kang's inaugural session on the vaccines. You mentioned about the vaccines.
Vaccines, yes.
Vaccines.
Yes.
You talked about the producer of vaccines. But the question is about the developer of the vaccines. See, India is the one among the largest vaccine supply nation of all kinds
pharmaceutical
of
industry. India has a very, I should have mentioned that. India has a very flourishing pharmaceutical industry, and there are a large number of laboratories. So I should have mentioned that. I'm sorry, and that's a remarkable contribution.
Sir, your student is here. Your student is here to do that. But so how do you see, question number one, how do you see the India as the developer? I mean, I am coming to the science part of it, that do we yet have the sufficient infrastructure, the point which you raised very strongly, education. Number two, how about, you talked about, you are mentioning about the medical industry, how about the defense industry? This is also coming up in this country recently. So, your observations on these two, sir?
You see, it is something like this. About 10 years back, I went to China, and I found every department. You see, in India, a university physics department has, for example, 30 faculty members or 40 faculty members. They have 200 faculty members in one department. So, there is no doubt in my mind that the education, one has to have a much larger emphasis on education. And education, in my opinion, and healthcare are the two very primary responsibilities of the government. It cannot transfer the entire responsibility to the private sector. To a certain extent, we can do that, but not to completely. So today, when the Ukraine war came, I was very surprised to know that 26,000 Indian students were in Ukraine.
In Ukraine, yes.
Paying a huge amount of money. Some of them are going to become medical doctors or engineers. So imagine 26,000 Indian students, they have enough money to go abroad and study either basic science or engineering science or medicine in countries like Ukraine and many other countries. So the very fact that we have so many competitive examinations today reflects on the fact that we have far fewer educational institutions than we should have. So that the numbers have to increase tremendously. In 2009, with one stroke of pen, Dr. Manmohan Singh created IITs and ICERTs and this
ICERTs,
thing
ICERTs.
at a large number of them. So, that kind of phenomenon should happen more frequently. We must have much larger number of IITs, larger number of pharmaceutical training people, and also industrial training, which will provide to
All
the
these
defense,
skills,
for the
skills,
defense,
yes.
aerospace engineering,
aerospace.
naval engineering,
Semiconductor.
one of my, I am very proud of him. One of my cousin brothers is in Navy. He has done shipbuilding,
Oh,
and
that's
and
great.
and he is involved with government of India,
Yes.
and he has done remarkable work. So we must not have one person like that. Large number of people
Last,
like
yes,
that.
you mentioned about that, but
So
I
we
say
are a
that
country of, we are the most populous nation, we are the most important nation in this whole world.
Yes,
so
sir,
we
so-
must have larger number of institutes, and it will create the employment problem. It will solve the employment problem among the younger generation. We require, what we require most, and this I very strongly feel, to create an environment where the younger generation will go for teaching and research. Unfortunately, the pay scales are so different that the younger generation is motivated to go for selling cold drinks rather than
Yes,
do
yes.
research and teaching.
But-
I mean, I have been, let me tell you something, that I have been a physicist trying to understand physics for the whole life, and it has been a very enjoyable experience. Even at this age, I am 85, and I still enjoy reading physics, I still enjoy teaching physics. So, I want to tell the younger generation that go into science, medicine, engineering, do something great. That will be not only good for you, you will enjoy it, what you want from your life, not just money. If this stone was 100 rupees or 100,000 rupees or 1 million rupees, does it make any difference? It does not. So, what will you do? You require a certain amount of money, but not an astronomical amount of money. So go for science, and the country's responsibility is to provide the right infrastructure, right environment, and right academic atmosphere in colleges like I had the great privilege of learning in Agra College and Delhi University.
Sir, now we are trying to wrap it up. Sir, yes, you rightly said that we need many Kotaris, we need many Bansals, many other senior teachers.
Visionaries.
Yes, this country needs more Ghataks. This country needs more Ghataks. And of course, there is one thing somebody is asking us.
Follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams.
As Abdul Kalam said.
Start seeing the dreams while you are
I want to tell you.
open.
I want to tell you one more thing. That Swaminathan, who created the Green Revolution, was a Hindu. Varghese Kurian was the milkman of India, was a Christian.
Yes.
Abdul Kalam is a Muslim, and Homi Bhabha was a Parsi. Jamshedji Tata. It is this diversity which makes this country so beautiful.
So, but we all are Indians. First.
We are all Indians. That we should remember.
That is
the
the goal.
diversity of this country which makes this country truly beautiful. I genuinely feel that way.
Friends, you are asking about that which is the oldest university which is still working. So, to my knowledge, it is University of Bologna at Italy, which was instituted in 1088 in the late 11th century. So, that the Bologna, which is famous for legal
I
studies
think it
today.
is pronounced as Bologna.
Bologna?
G is silent. I
Oh,
think.
I may be wrong, but I had been there. But we were pronouncing it Bologna at that time too. So
This is what I feel.
maybe, sir. We Indians do have a different kind of pronunciation. But I have visited this university in 1992, sir. Anyway, so Italy, friends. So now we are finishing this session. So
Yes,
Tanvi,
sir.
please take it on.
So before we wrap up, let's just give our viewers the glimpse of the next session, which is going to be on 5th of December. So, sir, would you like to tell everyone?
Yes, friends, like this session's suggestion on science and technology, we have been receiving requests from different corners to have a session on ores and minerals. So, we are going to have a session on ores and minerals and their economic importance on 5th of December. Dr. K.V. Krishnamurthy, who happens to be the Secretary of Geological Society of India, he will be here with us in studio to discuss and to tell us more about ores and minerals and their economic importance. This is the era of economic importance, and yes, as we were discussing that the economics overrules everything. Economics overrules. So, friend, be with us on 5th of December, same time, Friday, 10 a.m.
Absolutely.
Till then, bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for bringing Ajay sir with us, and thank you so much, Ajay sir, for telling us a lot that I don't think everyone knew about these facts. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We have a great heritage.
Absolutely, and we're very proud of it.
We are very proud of it.
Yes.
Thank you to each and every viewer of ours. I really hope that this was a very informative program and you really liked it. If in case you have missed watching it, you can again watch it on NCERT official. That is our YouTube channel. All you need is an internet connection. So we have a series of programs lined up for all of you throughout the day. The next program that you'll be watching is from 11 to 12. That is our series on empowering parents with artificial intelligence. Class 6 to class 12 students, you can watch it on multiple channels of ours or even our YouTube channel. So with this, thank you so much once again, and let me just tell you once again that if you have not purchased the class 4 and class 7 textbooks, then you can buy it from Amazon, Flipkart and even on NCERT official website. So do purchase them if you need them. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Keep on watching the programs that we have for all of you. I'm Tanvi Khurana and I'll take a leave of you. Namaskar.